It doesn't matter if we're talking about the prototypes, the initial hydrogen and electric vehicles that this company initially, quote, produced that were completely defrauded to investors and researchers alike, or the leadership behind this team. You have Dave Prowse, the head of infrastructure development at Nikola Motor Company, who previously came from an unrelated category, which is a golf club in Idaho. Or his little brother Travis, that Trevor Milton hired, which is the director of hydrogen production, which had a background in laying cement. Or if we're talking about the Nikola In Motion, where you literally took the video of a truck rolling down the hill and stating that it was, quote, in motion rather than driving to deceive investors. Or if we're talking about the Nikola Badger, the big truck that everyone was excited about and had amazing specs for a vehicle that did not exist. And the Hindenburg research exposed all of this in 2020, and that leads to where we're at today, which is Trevor Milton finally being found behind bars. I made videos about this company in 2020. I made videos about this company in 2021, and I made a decent amount of money, a few $1,000s shorting the stock over a year ago. Now today, Trevor Milton is behind bars. He's officially convicted, and we're going to rehash this story if you didn't hear it already. Of all the stories that I've heard in the stock market, Nikola is one of my favorites. It's one of the most shocking, by far the most deceitful story I've ever heard of investors, and basically is one of the biggest cons you basically will find in modern times. Of all the stories I know in the stock market and all the stocks I've ever found to invest in, this one is arguably the most shocking. And so if we hop over to M1 Finance, it's easy to look at the stock price and assume that the pain is over. It's down 69% in the last year. It's down almost 87% in the last 2 years. And since IPO, it's basically evaporated all of its value. And so it's easy to think that the stock might be at a bottom, but I would like to go ahead and tell you today why this company will reach bankruptcy. It will not get better. This conviction of Trevor Milton is finally not the last straw, the final thing that can get this company moving forward. I think the stock's going to zero. It's a $1.3 billion company, and I wouldn't pay 10 cents for the stock, much less $3. We're going to go over all that in this video, give the quick summary to the fraud story that you may or may not have heard before, and in the title of Hindenburg Research, the conclusion says, quote, Nikola is a massive fraud constructed on dozens of lives. So if you haven't seen this before, stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one, and this is a video I definitely look forward to making. If you haven't seen me before, my name is Jordan. I'm a millennial investor, and here is my monthly portfolio balance, my current portfolio holdings, which is Salesforce, Amazon, Crocs, and Google. You also have my monthly YouTube income, my lifetime YouTube income, and if you haven't seen this before, I just revamped all of these little holdings on my spreadsheet, so it's pretty cool to look at in my opinion. As of the time of this filming, we have about $39,246 invested, and this is my performance versus the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the Russell 2000, which can also be listed out right here if you look at the performance tab, which I visualized on a month-over-month basis, where I'm at in 2022 versus the indexes. So far, we're doing okay. Now, if you want to see my portfolio or the holdings that I share, these are listed down below in the description on the platform and the brokerage M1 Finance. So check that out down below in the description if you're interested. And there's also lots of other opportunities available. If you're interested in something like that, you would help support the channel and you get $10 for doing so, and 130 people have done so far. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into Nikola Stock and talk about this company that, in my opinion, is one of the worst companies in the market. Now, right now, this company's finally started to get some revenue, and in the most recent quarter, they pulled in a hot $18 million. Now, what were the losses last quarter? They had $18 million in revenue, and the free cash flow was negative $180 million. Literally, it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. The losses were 10 times the size of the revenue. I'm not even making that up. I'm not exaggerating. They lost $180 million last quarter, and this has been consistent with growing losses every single quarter. From $1 million to 27, 22, 23, 28, 47, 72, 83, 106, 118, 177, 161, and now the most recent quarter's 179. Meanwhile, every quarter that's gone by, you've also been getting diluted as they issued more shares to their big executives that have been running the company great, in quotes, while meanwhile this company's burning its cash and trying to raise debt just to survive. As you can see, this cash pile is just free falling every single quarter, hundreds of millions of dollars, as the company tries to stay afloat and start to finally get some debt from large banks to hopefully keep this company afloat, as these free cash flow losses get worse by the quarter. Now, if you didn't know the story, this company goes back many years. This is a fraud way back into the making. Now, I'm not going to rehash this whole story line by line, step by step. If you want to look this up, you can look up Hindenburg Research, and this goes far in depth. This is actually very long, and I've read it all before. And if you want to read it all you can search is Hindenburg Research Short Report on Nikola Stock. If you search that, you can read all of the story, which seemingly goes on forever, and twice, I believe, I've read it start to finish, and it is just crazy talking about how deceitful Trevor Milton in the company of Nikola Stock really is. But anyways, it starts off with this company initially presenting its truck that is allegedly fully functioning. That is their quote, fully functioning vehicle, which is only being powered by a hidden cable that was hidden under the stage when they initially presented this vehicle. Now, it couldn't power itself, and it definitely couldn't drive, and this one hidden cable that they secretly hid that we were able to find from this YouTube video was powering the truck, lit up so that way it appeared to be, quote, fully functioning. After that, they began to hire many other high-level executives in the company, like Mr. Dale Prowse, who was a golf club manager in Idaho, which became the, quote, head of infrastructure development. Travis is Trevor Milton, the CEO's little brother, who was hired even though he was previously doing yard work and concrete work. Now, there's nothing against people who do yard work or concrete work. The issue is his role of the company was Director of Hydrogen Production and Infrastructure. Normally, you would think someone in that role would have a very large, very highly educated engineering background or something similar of the sorts, but someone who is working on yard work and working on painting and concrete work is normally not the type of person you would think that would be the Director of Hydrogen Production of a multi-billion-dollar company, which just happens to be the CEO's little brother. Now, Nikola One really made its big claim as a vehicle company from its, quote, In Motion video. Now, we're going to play this video from start to finish. It's only about 30 seconds long. I'm going to mute the sound because I don't want to get copyrighted, but if you just search on YouTube, Nikola One In Motion, you can still find this video. Which, by the way, if you try to find the comments, good luck because they were turned off a long time ago. If you try to find the comments, Nikola removed them because all the comments were negative, but this is what you see. You see this truck, quote, driving, or I should say, in motion, but what it really is rolling down a hill. This is actually a steep decline in a desert. I believe it's in Nevada, if I'm not mistaken, but basically it's hard to tell, and it's at a very specific camera angle like you can see here, and it doesn't look like it's going downhill, but it in fact is. You can kind of see it if you look closely in the video, but this definitely looks like a car that is driving. So Nikola One, once again, defrauding investors, lying to them, making it seem like they have a vehicle that is driving. Now they finally proposed the big Badger. The Nikola One Badger, I mean, let's just be honest, it looks awesome. I would drive this in a heartbeat. This thing looks like a beast. It looks awesome, and if it ever really reaches mass scale production, who knows, maybe I would buy it. I don't like the company, but the product looked awesome. And they were selling ridiculous amounts of these vehicles and selling people on all the specs that were amazing for this vehicle, and this is what they looked like. A 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Peak horsepower of 906. There's all these different cool metrics and all these cool specs behind this vehicle. The only problem is it didn't exist. This vehicle did not exist for years while they were selling and marketing this vehicle and accepting down payments. Meanwhile, it was not in production. And that leads me to the conclusion of Hindenburg Research, which says Nikola is a massive fraud constructed on dozens of lies. And this was wrote almost 2.5 years ago in 2020, and that leads to where we're at today when this was announced on October 14th, this last Friday, of Trevor Milton, quote, being found guilty of fraud over statements he made while CEO of EV company. Now, Trevor was fired. He was allegedly stepped down, but really what happened is he was fired. That's what happened. He was cursing people out over Twitter and other social media accounts. He was also doing lots of deceitful things with the company, not only before leading up to this moment, but even up to the day pretty much that he was fired as CEO. And he is now facing up to 25 years in a federal prison, which you can see from this line right here, as he was convicted on all 4 counts. Now, you can read further into the story, but this is the reason reason why I want to make this video is to warn investors, because there's many companies out there that are popular retail stocks. We just made one about a company called Beyond Meat, which is not a bad company. They weren't deceitful for investors, but it's just a bad stock. The product isn't bad. I actually tried Beyond Meat not that long ago, and it's a good product, but it's not a good company. This company does not deserve to be trading in the billions of dollars. While this company was originally a $250 stock around its IPO price, today it sits at 13, and there's honestly, in my opinion, a lot more room for downside because the fundamentals do not match up when the company is not growing and they're losing millions and millions and millions of dollars every single quarter like this, as you can see from the chart right here. The stock deserves to go down and likely not come back up for a sustained period anytime soon. The same thing for Nikola. There's no price that I would pay for Nikola. Maybe at a penny. I tell you what, I'll buy it at a penny. I'll buy one share once it goes there. No, not really. But all seriousness, this company's going to zero. Now, I don't think it's going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. It's going to take a long time because this company, as of today, as of the most recent quarter, they have about $440 million on the balance sheet. The debt pile is still considerably under control. They had a lot of trouble financing in the beginning because they have no revenues, but they've only raised $200 million, which is not bad at all. But what will continue to happen is this shares outstanding. This number right here will continue to go up each quarter, so your ownership of the company will go down, and that will raise the market cap unless the price goes down to follow suit with that. But this debt pile will continue to climb, in my opinion. 200 million is just a start. I think it'll be just a few short years before we see this 500 million, a billion, 2 billion, if they can continue to get debt and raise it from capital investments. And as interest rates go higher, this debt becomes more costly each and every quarter and every single year as interest rates have continued to rise. And more importantly, this cash pile is becoming more worthless by the day, literally losing millions of dollars a day. As of the most recent quarter, we lost 180 million in the recent quarter in the last 90 days. That means that this company is losing shareholder value at the rate of about $2 million a day. Not a quarter, 2 million a day. And so this company eventually will go bankrupt, in my opinion. I don't think it's one that will have any type of sustained rally. If it goes up, it'll be a short-term dead cat bounce. And while it is at $3 and it is down significantly, in the last year down 73%, in the last 2 years down 85%, it's one that I don't think will be coming up anytime soon. I don't think that the stock even deserves to be at $1, in my opinion. So I'll give my December 31st, 2022 price target of, gosh, I don't know, 50 cents if this company's even still kicking it by then, because it doesn't deserve to be anywhere near $3 or really even anywhere close to that, because it has a horrible sustained image that I don't think will be going anytime soon. And while Trevor Milton was convicted of all these 4 counts of fraud, I think it says a lot because many of the same executives that were around in 2019, 2020 when this was happening are still running the company, and I fail to believe that they had no part in this whatsoever, and they were just completely clueless, and Trevor was the only person committing these horrible acts. So Trevor Milton is a con artist of our day. Nikola Stock I don't think is going anywhere positive in the future, and I think it's one that I could consider shorting if I needed to hedge if we started to see a big bull market and this company started to come back to $4, $5, $6, $10. It would be one that I'd likely short, just like I did in 2021 and made a decent profit on. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, thank you for subscribing if you haven't already. Check out all my videos down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a thumbs up if you like this video. Check out all the stuff down below in the description. And other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys next time.